Hi, welcome to In a Pickle Knitting. My name is Donna and today is Vlogtober number 21, October 21st, 2018. I'm coming to you from Manassas, Virginia, and today I have a review or book talk of a children's literature book that's seasonal and also a craft. So the book for today is called From Acorn to Oak Tree, and this is part of the Learner Start to Finish series, and it's a rather extensive series. These books are geared towards second grade reading level, but they can be used with younger children as well as older children. And one way to use it with younger children is to just use the bolded text at the very beginning. And some features of all of these books is that they have a table of contents, they have a glossary, they have a bibliography with other books and websites to explore to learn more. They also have an index and bolded words or colored words so that you can know which words are found in the glossary. And it can be used at two levels, as I said, just reading the bold text as a read aloud or reading all of the text to someone or on your own. And what's really phenomenal is the photography. The photography is outstanding. Looking at that sprouting acorn, they've just gotten in there and given really good detail. And there's our little tiny seedling tree. And you can see the acorn still above ground there where it stores food to keep the tree living. And it goes all the way back to new trees being born. So it starts with an acorn and goes all the way to mature tree and then shows what comes next. So this is a really great series. I had a number of titles in my library. I have a number of titles at home, and every single one is so well done. So this is our book for today. And our craft for today is to create a fall, hello fall, or whatever you'd like message you'd like to put on a greeting card. So if you'll watch here, you'll see how I've made my card, and I hope that you'll come back and see again tomorrow what crafted book I have for you. Till then, bye-bye. I'm going to be showing you how to make this fall card or something similar to it. So I thought I'd go through some of the materials and supplies that you'll need. If you want to emboss your sentiment, as I did, you'll need an embossing heating device. You need a paper cutter of some sort, a scoring board, some inks, your sentiment, mine says Happy Fall, a brad, if you want to use a brad to attach it. If you want a decoration of the leaf, you'll need that. A scrap of green, a scrap of brown paper, and some orange paper for the pumpkin. And I used one that feels like velour. It has a textured feel to it. You'll need a piece of cardstock for the backing on the card. I used this device to hold my sentiment down while I was using the embossing heater. Some glue, some of the little tabs, the raised felt foam tabs to attach the gray portion of the card to the backing of the card. A hole punch with a small hole for that brad, some embossing powder, glue, a cutter for the sentiment, and an oval shaped cutter for the pumpkin. Something to cut the leaf. I used the one on the left, but the one on the right would work too. I looked around for something to cut the stem with and just used this tag cutter. Use this small one right here and use the squared off end. You need some ribbon, and I use washi tape to hold my different cutters down while I'm running them through the Sizzix. And you'll need something that can cut your oval shape, and then you'll need your cutting machine. I use a hold on. I use this Sizzix Big Kick, and I also have this multi-purpose platform for the different things I'll cut, and the two kind of that hard plastic or acrylic things that you put above and below them. So those are the things that I used to make this card. And of course, the oval cutter doesn't need to have those little hole punch outs, and your leaf can be different. You can hand cut that. Everything can be totally different sentiment and different way to cut it out, but this is what I'll be showing you. Cut this white paper, which is cardstock for the card itself. You want to cut that 9.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall, and you want to score it at the 4 3/4 inch mark. So that'll be our fold for our card. Cut your backing card from white cardstock or whatever color you'd like, and cut it to 9.5 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches, and then score it at the 4 3/4 inch line, and that will provide a fold for our card. And then the gray piece here, or whatever color you'd like, needs to be cut to 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Mine was pre-cut to that size. It came in this package of cardstock matte stack called Premium Stacks, and had a variety of colors in it. So I just took one out, but you can cut anything to that size. The next thing that we're going to do is concentrate on doing all of the things that need to be cut out. The parts for the pumpkin, those 5 ovals, the leaf, the stem, and our sentiment. So we'll also be stamping the sentiment. To make the pumpkin, you need 5 of these ovals, and I've already cut out 4 of them. And this particular one has holes around the edges. You don't have to have that. And this paper has a flocked feel to it, and I intentionally put my cutter that would make those deeper impressions while it was making the little holes this direction. Typically, I think you do it the opposite way from the back, but I liked the way it left this little line, so I'm doing it this way. So I've used some washi tape. I have to be careful with that because the tape will take some of that flocking off, so I've just got it on the die on the outside of that paper. So I'll run it through the big kick, and I usually run it both ways because those little holes are a little bit hard to get out on this thicker paper. And if they don't all pop out immediately, and some do, most of them do, I just take this the die and kind of scrape at the back to get make sure that they all are clear, and it is. So now we can put our little pumpkin together. Well, I decided maybe we'd go ahead and cut everything out while I've got the big kick right here. This is one cutter, it's a Sizzix, and it has a little leaf on it. It makes this size leaf, and it does have those little punch out places in it. I don't know if I can get there. That might have shown you where they are. You can see it better here. But I decided to go with this one because it has the vine and the stem on it. This is from Provo Craft, and it says to use in a Cuttlebug foam side up, but it does work in this machine too. I just had the adapter with this tab pulled forward, and I'm going to use the other side of this paper to cut. So we've got our little leaf for the pumpkin. To cut the stem, you can use anything that would give you that shape. This little tag gave me a rectangular shape, and so I'm going to use that. And there we go, and we'll just use it this way. So I can just push it down, you won't see that part at all. And now we'll cut out a shape to put our sentiment in. I usually stamp it first, but hope that I can get it centered doing it this, cutting it first. So there's a little piece of cardstock for our sentiment. So I think that's our cutting done. We're gonna put that pumpkin together now. So on my center oval, I've marked the center of that oval because I know from playing around with it that the two on either side need to meet in the center. We're doing this from the back. The shape's the same, so it's okay. And then try to place the other two equidistant. And it is a little tricky because the pieces want to move around. And when you think that's probably right, I've taken just a little piece of cardstock and ran some adhesive over it so that I could put it on the back and keep them. Now that center one can still shift, so I may just put a little piece of washi tape there to keep it in place. And when I flip it over, hopefully I'm happy with what I got. And we've made our pumpkin. I'm going to stamp my sentiment now, and I am going to use some clear embossing powder on it. This is hard to read. Stampin' Stuff. And so I have a little coffee filter here that I'll pour over that. And you are supposed to de-static it so that the embossing powder only sticks on the ink part. Never sure if that works. This is my only orange. It's rather light, but I'm going to use that orange on my Happy Fall stamp. And try to be really careful getting it centered. And get some embossing powder on that. I may just have to do it here. I'm afraid it's gonna dry. Okay, which is fine. And we'll tap on that to get any excess off. I will take care of this in a minute. And I'm going to use the embossing tool, heater, to heat that up. There we go. It is pretty light, but I prefer this orange to the color I had used. I'd used a bronze color on the other card. So that's ready. And we are going to be using a brad to attach that. So I have a tiny little hole punch here, and punch a little hole there. And we'll use a brad later to attach it to the card. We're going to attach the ribbon now to the gray part of the card, or whatever color you might be using. And I like to put it on the scoring board because I can for sure get it lined up straight and decide where you want it. And what I'm doing is using a little groove there. And so if it's in the same spot on the other side, then I'll know that it's straight. And I'm just going to then tack some glue right there. Get that side down. And use my fingernail just to make a little mark right there so that I know where it's gonna go. And I'm going to apply the adhesive to the back of the ribbon. Doesn't like to stick to that as well as it likes to stick to the cardstock. Make sure it's straight and press it down. Then I can flip this over and do the same. So I'm going to put a scrap under there. And do the same to the other side, having them. It doesn't really have to come all the way across because this is going to be behind the card, so I can trim it a little shorter. Okay, so we have our ribbon on our card, and we're gonna just start putting the things that we want on the card. I want the pumpkin on first, and you can decide if you want it to sit on your ribbon or have it go behind it. I'm gonna have the ribbon go behind. So I'm going to use this adhesive, making sure that I get some on each piece. And I'm gonna have to turn it this way so I can just eyeball it. Okay, the first part of the pumpkin, and then we had cut a little stem. So I'm going to get some adhesive on that and just slide it under. And we've got our leaf. I will do the same there. And I'm gonna have my leaf come onto my pumpkin. We want our sentiment, and you know, you can decide. I think I kind of like it on this side. So we'll grab our hole punch again, and I can line it up right through the hole I already made. And we'll find a brad. I like this bronze colored one, but there's silver and several colors in there. This is a Recollections brads. I purchased at Michael's. Well, I think that's who Recollections is, Michael's. And if you like, you could put two brads, or just put a little bit of adhesive under there to keep it in the spot you want it in. Now on my card, I have this little leaf here. And what I did was, it's a wooden leaf, a little wooden cutout. And I put some ink on it. I just stamped it in this bronze ink pigment, and then put embossing powder on it, just like I did for the sentiment, and it embossed that leaf. And I made a mistake of gluing it down before really thinking about it, and I've decided I'm really just not that pleased with it. I think it's the color combination in part. So I'm not gonna put that on this card. If you want, of course, you can embellish any way you want. I would like something up here. So I think what I'm gonna do is get some little paint and put some dots or something there. So we'll do that next. I'm going to go ahead now and attach the front piece to the back of the card. Normally I would wait until these little dots I put here dry, but I want to have the finished card. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and do this part first, and I'm just using these little foam squares that are adhesive on both sides. So I will attach definitely one in each corner, and then I will put one behind where I know my pumpkins are. And that should probably hold it down for us. So I will do that part now. I've used some washi tape to get my card secured down in the corner of the scoring board. And on this little card, I scored some lines here, vertical lines. And I'm gonna use those just to help me place my liquid pearls. This is liquid pearls in the onyx pearl. I guess that's the color. It says Ranger on it. And I'm not really good with this, but I'm going to a little better at this if I was able to look directly on. So I think I may go ahead and move the camera. Just trying to get the little pokey thing off the top, and I'll come back to you after I've done these. Well, here is our original card, and I'm going to tell you I had trouble when I was trying to put the design over here. I always have trouble with those little things that squeeze out. And so I tried to salvage that problem by putting these little green shiny things on top of the dots, and that was a disaster, as you can see here. So I salvaged what I could from the card. I didn't think this was ribbon was going to come off very well from pulling on the back. So I didn't have more gray. And sometimes when I have problems like this, it turns out for the best, because I had to choose another color, and I actually like the brown better than I don't know. They're both nice. But on the brown, and then I just put 3 of those little green things, and I think that is, overall, I'm happier with this card than this one. The only thing I wish is I had a darker orange for the sentiment, but overall, it's just fine. And I will send one to my mom and one to my aunt, and just to wish them a happy fall. So I hope that you'll take these simple techniques and try to make your own cards. Bye.